They tracked the laptop to the ice cream factory, thinking that Hannah and Caleb are putting all the evidence in the ice cream factory. And
I was hoping you were
going
saying in the ice cream. If we put all the evidence in the ice cream,
they'll
then
never find it.
people will eat it.
Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we are talking about Pretty Little Liars.
Yes, we are. Again.
Yes, we are.
It feels good to be back.
Yeah. We first talked about Pretty Little Liars 2 years ago in episode 244.
Okay.
But we're back, baby. I thought of it because the second season of the reboot just came out last week. So
right.
It was top of mind. Haven't watched it, but I sure have watched the original series.
Again, or?
No, just in life.
Okay, yeah.
So I want to talk to Will and all of you about some of the batshit craziest things that happened on that show, because we haven't even scratched the surface.
Evidently not.
No.
Yeah, we talked about Pretty Little... So it was 244, you said?
Yeah.
That's almost exactly like 2 years ago.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I'm fine with this every couple of years.
Great. Honestly, there's enough to trot it out every couple of years.
Get the trots.
Get the trots talking about PLL.
But so we talked about, I think, the like big story. The idea
Yes.
that Pretty Little... correct me if I'm wrong.
Go ahead.
Can I tell our audience what Pretty Little Liars is and why it's of interest to us and therefore them?
Yes, and the reason that's funny is because Will has never seen it. So for Will to explain this is...
Right.
Let's see what you got.
My understanding of Pretty Little Liars is that it was a CW show?
No. ABC Family.
ABC, okay, even better. That explains it even better. ABC Family.
Which then changed to Freeform basically because Pretty Little Liars was so not like, why is this on something called ABC Family? And it was by far the biggest show on that network, and it made no sense. Yeah.
Okay. So Pretty Little Liars is a PG-13-esque thriller.
Yeah.
And it concerns primarily a friend group of all girls who are being stalked by somebody who only goes by the name, the initial A.
Yes.
And what could A stand for? Who is A? As I watched a few things that you sent me, it occurred to me that it was almost like a not a slasher version of this, but like a television version of a Scream type thing.
Yeah.
Someone is stalking us. In Scream, they wear a mask, obviously.
Right.
And I'm sure in Pretty Little Liars, identities are hidden a lot.
They wear a black hoodie.
Okay, but a lot of like sending secret texts, and you don't really know who the texts are from.
Yeah.
And who could A really be? We've got to unmask A.
Yes.
And
They're always trying to unmask A constantly.
And because it's a long-running TV show, it ended up going through all of these like insane backflips to justify who A is, and now there's a new A. I thought you were A. I was A, but now I'm not A. There's a new A.
Right.
And
there's the A team.
Oh, there's a team of A's.
At one point, yes.
That are all pretending to be one individual?
No, they know that there are like multiple. Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, A to me is harder to say than like Ghostface has always been a silly name.
Yeah.
But it's easy to say who's Ghostface. Who's A?
Who's A?
It sounds like you're interrupting yourself, just saying one letter. A. Who's A?
It's true.
Very weird. But so it's like a very contrived soap opera-esque teen thriller.
Yes.
On television, and we like gonzo weird swings at being scary.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about some of the craziest moments from the show.
It's exactly that. And I've divided them into categories.
I saw this.
Just to...
Kristen sent me her notes, which was like the inner workings of her mind.
Just to give everybody a little preview of what we'll be doing. The categories are hot and cold. What is it? Body horror.
Awesome.
And what was the third one? It's like secret siblings.
Secret siblings, I think. Yes. Yes. All right. So we've got a lot to cover because this show seems to have perpetually gone off the deep end.
It's so nuts.
And we'll get all up in there. I don't like that after this commercial break. I wish I had not said all up in there. It sounded weird.
It did. That's
Yes.
okay. What are you
right.
going to do?
I'm not going to edit that out.
No.
Okay.
It's already there. Okay, so you really summed it up beautifully.
Did I do a fine job?
Yeah,
Okay.
you did a great job.
right.
I'm just going to lay a little bit more groundwork that I think will make like what we talk about just a little bit easier to understand.
Yes.
Also, I chose things specifically that you don't have to know a lot about Pretty Little Liars to think are crazy. Like there were things that like when I came to top of mind, like, oh, what were crazy moments in Pretty Little Liars? Like when I thought about it, I was like, you would kind of have to know that character to know why that's crazy, or be too visual or whatever. So this episode will be extremely spoiler laden. However, it's not going to be too inside baseball. You can kind of listen and be like, that does sound nuts.
Yeah, even the clips that you sent me, I was at least able to understand on the surface a bunch of things. Like the inner dynamics of these characters' lives was unimportant.
Right.
We're just talking about a TV show trying to be shocking or trying to be scary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But just to give you a little background that might just help a little bit, here's the deal with that show. So it ran from 2010 to 2017. It was super duper popular for like the whole time, but it was also very much like a love to hate it kind of show because it was bonkers like right from the very beginning.
Even the people who liked it were making fun of it, that kind of thing?
I would say after like a season or two, yes.
Is
Maybe
it the
season
kind of,
or three. Maybe it took a little time for people to be like, this is ridiculous, but they still loved it.
Do you think it's the kind of show that if it were made, like 2010 to 2017 is still pretty firmly in the way that television used to be made, where it was like, it's good, keep it going forever.
Yeah, and every season had like 22 episodes.
Oh yeah, just too much.
Yeah.
If it were made today, and I know there are new seasons, but it's like a different kind of genre thing. But if this story were made today, do you think that it would be like 1 or 2 seasons of better storytelling to tell this like a core tale?
I don't know. It seems like maybe this kind of show isn't around as much anymore. I think the closest like cousin to it would be Riverdale.
Yeah.
But Riverdale, I think, got bad in a way that Pretty Little Liars wasn't bad. Like, I think most people started loving to hate Riverdale in a much more leaning on hate sort of way.
Okay.
Like, it got, like, bad.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of people just dropped off of it entirely. I'm sure there are people who dropped off of Pretty Little Liars, but for the most part, everybody still, like, kind of liked it, even though they were like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess it would be made kind of that way. Potentially, but I don't know. I feel like this kind of show has somewhat gone the way of the dodo.
It's made to go off the rails.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, I think at a certain point, I think they wrote themselves into corners a lot.
But that might have been a function of like, well, we got signed up for another season.
Yeah, like not
what
knowing,
are we going to do?
Not knowing whether you're going to be coming back next season, and then you are. And then you're like,
It's like Lost.
Yes.
How like they said like Lost would have been great if we knew we could do it in just 3 seasons or something like that.
I guarantee that happened a lot.
Yeah, okay.
But even so, I mean, some of the things they did were so nuts.
Yeah.
But I really loved it as a whole. So, yeah, it was totally ridiculous. The storylines got more and more implausible as time went on. But it was super addictive because the actors were really good, like really compelling. And it was such a weird ass mystery that you still wanted to see what was going to happen. Even how crazy it was, you wanted to see what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
And so you just kind of kept coming back, maybe even in spite of yourself. But I think that a lot of people, myself included, were just able to sort of let themselves go and enjoy the ride. I really feel like a lot of it is due to the actors. I think it was kind of a little bit of one of those like lightning in a bottle casts where their chemistry with each other is really good.
Okay.
Their acting is good. So it can kind of carry you through how ridiculous it is because you like watching them.
Right.
And you like watching them together. And that chemistry only got better as time went on. So it's like Friends or something. Like you're used to seeing this group interacting.
Yeah,
together.
it almost doesn't matter what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
It matters that you're seeing them do it all together.
Yes, it's a lot of that. And plus it's like spooky. Like if you like that kind of genre, it's that plus
It feels like
something.
a YA novel as a show.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
The
And it was a series of YA
Oh, it
novels.
was?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then they did a great job.
They did a great job. Apparently, it's completely different than the books, but that's how it started.
Oh, okay.
So the basic plot is that it's a teen/YA soap opera where it's a group of friends, the main characters, Arya, Spencer, Hannah, and Emily, who are tormented by a black hoodied entity known as A.
Entity. Sounds like the thing.
Because I was thinking sometimes it's one person, sometimes it's a group, who will go to all kinds of lengths to make their lives uncomfortable. They will taunt them with anonymous texts, blackmail them into doing shit, and warn them away from getting too close to finding out who they are in ever increasingly insane ways. And then kind of hovering around those main four are Allison, a girl they were friends with who went missing and then resurfaced, and Mona, a nerd who intermittently becomes evil / becomes A.
Right.
And then the group's boyfriends as well. A will go to all kinds of lengths. They will murder people to keep their identity secret or to avenge whoever they're pissed about, though none of the main characters are ever actually killed. And as I said, the identity of A changes hands a few times, and sometimes there's even a team of people working together who are known as the A team, and the final villain goes by AD. And in that old episode, that episode was only focused on who all the A's are. So if you're curious about that.
Piecing out the people behind the moniker.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. So that's obviously full of spoilers. This is going to be full of spoilers too, but it's going to be a little bit more piecemeal and non-sequential. This is a grab bag of batshit stuff.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Okay.
Here are some ways that A has messed with this group of friends. We are now going to the segment Hot and Cold.
Hot and cold.
All right. So from season 3. Spencer locked in her steam shower.
Yes, locked in a steam shower. So you sent me this clip. Can I describe the clip?
Yeah, please.
As I saw it. So, I mean, that one, actually, this one's probably the most straightforward of all of them. It's like, Spencer.
Well, somewhat, but there is some background to explain it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, just what I saw, or at least what I remember, which is going to be spotty. So you can.
It's very short, so I'm sure it's accurate.
You can spackle in whatever I screwed up. Spencer, this character, goes into the shower stall.
Yeah.
It's on television, I know that, but like even still I find this kind of thing weird where it's like she goes into the shower with a towel wrapped around herself.
Well, because like it's her shower at home, but she's super rich. So it's not even like a shower stall. It's like her shower room. And so she's not even taking a shower. She's taking a steam.
Yes. Right.
So, I mean, still, I would think you'd be naked at home. But I guess she's basically going to sit in the sauna.
It's just one of those things where like it doesn't take me out of it because I understand.
Yeah.
But it's like somebody wrote she's got to get trapped in the shower with the steam on. Right? Like she's going to get steamed to death or I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like, but to do that on TV, everybody, it has to look so weird and unnatural because she's going to have to get in the shower wrapped up in a towel.
Right.
I'm not saying take the towel off her. I'm saying don't do this scenario because it looks weird.
I know.
But so anyway, she goes in and then, the door is stuck shut. A lot of people banging on doors in this. Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, they closed the door and they put a plunger between the, through the door handles. So also there's a toilet element incorporated in this thing, which I enjoy.
I love a toilet element.
Yeah.
A little toilet accessory.
Right.
When you accessorize your toilet with a nice plunger.
A likes to do a toilet twist.
Yes, and I appreciate that about A. All right, so spackle in now, because I just saw a person get stuck in the shower.
Well, no, I mean, you didn't even say they didn't just get stuck in there. Then, so it's like a fancy sauna thing where it's like electronic. She goes in there and she's like,
oh, that's right.
You want to...
Yeah, there was like a control panel. Yeah. Like if you need to make it hotter or colder, you could like slide your finger on a touch screen thing and it wasn't responding.
Well, she put it to like low or something, and then she like sits in there for a while, and then she's like, to get out, and she's trying to turn it off, and it goes like all the way up.
Right.
So A is like steaming her to death in the steam shower, and so there are these like things coming out of the wall that make the steam shoot out. And she's like, like from the left and right.
Now this is still, I don't know if you can recall who this particular A was at the time, but they're mostly also teenage.
Her boyfriend.
Oh, it was her boyfriend? Okay. Did he have the technological capabilities to mess with the electronics in a way that,
Yes.
They gave him like a computer science background or something?
Here's the thing. A is pretty much always omnipotent.
Of course.
You just have to accept that A can do anything. They have all skills at their disposal, any income,
Right.
anything. However,
We'll see especially some of that as this progresses.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
However, at this point, here I'll you know what, I'll explain that in the course of giving the
Sure.
context
Yes,
of why
please.
this
Okay.
happened. So Spencer is going in this shower and taking a schwitz because she is so stressed because she is going through it. So, as we said, they're pretty much always in pursuit of who A is and trying to figure it out.
It's their life.
It's their entire life.
Their entire existence is figuring out who A is.
Who's torturing them. She has just found out that her longtime boyfriend, hapless but handsome dumbass Toby, is on the A team.
Okay.
So they have broken up. Now, the A team at this point, because it's always shifting, this is in season 3. Mona is also on the A team right now. Mona is the original first A that we talked about.
Okay.
In the episode before. Now, why I mentioned that is Mona is supposed to be like a genius of all sorts, but a computer genius.
Okay. Sure.
So Mona, together with Toby, could hack into the system of Spencer's shower and make it go to
I'll buy it.
110.
All I really even meant to say by that is similar to Ghostface, right? I do think there are a lot of parallels with Ghostface. This is like a YA Ghostface.
Yes.
I think that once Ghostface is unmasked, once A is unmasked, you need to at least be able to reflect on the things you've seen them do and go, okay, that tracks.
Right.
I understand why they were able to do all of that.
I think for most things,
That's how it should be.
You theoretically can. Most of it all tracks back to that Mona is a genius.
Okay, fair.
She is set up to like, even before you know that she's A or whatever, she's like amazing with computers and stuff because she like toys with them. Like she's like, oh, I'll help you catch A, even though she's A, and she's helping them do something called blue snarfing on a computer. I don't know what that is.
What? She snarted? Blue snarfing. Yeah. Is this can't have any real world parallel? Is this a term they came up with and they were like, everyone will understand this?
Even that's the thing. I mean, it's hard to explain, but even the show is like a little jokey. Like the like blue snarfing. Like what the hell are you talking about? Or
blue snarfing is a hacking technique in which a hacker accesses a wireless device through a Bluetooth connection. I don't know.
She's like a master hacker and stuff.
So blue snarfing exists as a term outside Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, they don't usually... Well, I was going to say they don't usually make up things that don't exist. They definitely do.
Blue snarfing was discovered in 2003. It was discovered.
Maybe it was by Mona.
Maybe.
So like things like that. It's like, oh, Mona can help them do that. But I should mention, we later find out that Toby, even though he's on the A team, he's actually a double agent who's in the A team to try to protect the girls.
Oh, he's infiltrated the A's.
But he couldn't tell Spencer that.
Of course not.
Because it would ruin the whole thing.
Yes.
Of course. So she was reeling from this breakup, obviously, and finding out that Toby is A, she's devastated. So she briefly fell into the arms of Ren Kingston, her sister's former fiance.
Ren Kingston? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So she's not feeling great about this whole thing. So she goes into the shower for a little steam. And then A locks her in. And as she's in there, you may remember, she's screaming for anybody to get her. She's like, help, Melissa, who's her sister. And she clears some of the steam. And she sees that on the mirror, somebody has written, steamy with Ren, steamy with me. A. You don't remember
steamy
that?
with Ren.
Steamy
You'll
with
get
me.
steamy with me.
Yes, because she got steamy with Ren by making out with him.
So it's a poetic punishment.
Right.
Right.
A lot of A's punishments are.
Do you remember how'd she get out?
Arya came over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pulled the plunger out.
Yeah.
Would you die?
I don't know. Maybe you would pass out. Maybe you'd get really high blood pressure.
I don't think it would be
idea.
good.
No.
But would you die? I wonder. Okay.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, actually, there's a vinyl sticker on somebody's car, like around the block from you, that's been bothering me. It's from a movie or something. They have a vinyl sticker that says, "But did you die?" What is that from?
But did you die?
Can you Google that real quick?
Yeah, I'll Google that.
But did you die? I feel like I remember somebody saying that.
Let's see. But did you... It reminds me of what Dad used to say. They can't kill you.
They can't shoot you.
They can't shoot you.
Yeah.
But did you die?
What is that from?
Oh, it's from your favorite movie. It's from The Hangover.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess, which I've never seen.
I haven't either.
So
All
I
right,
guess
so I was wrong. I don't know what I thought that was from.
it's whatever this guy is. You know that guy.
No, I don't. I've
You know
never
that guy.
I have never seen that guy in my life.
Of course you have. He's the guy.
No, I haven't. William is showing me.
What's his name? He was a doctor before he became a.
Well, no,
an
I know
actor.
it's Ken Jeong.
Ken
but
Jeong.
I've never seen that character.
Oh my God! Watch any trailer for The Hangover, and you can't avoid him. He's hilarious. He pops out of the trunk naked at the end of The Hangover.
I know like nothing about that movie. I guess. Okay.
You're gonna have to watch all three and report back.
No, thank you. All right. So, second segment of Hot and Cold.
Yes.
Caleb locked in a kiln.
Yes, this I thought was very funny. This was actually the first one I watched. I had overlooked the sauna one. This one, if I can attempt to describe it, again, I don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, but
I'll explain.
two people are at school after hours.
Yes.
Which I actually really like.
They break into the school constantly. They're always breaking into the
Makes
high
sense.
school.
They're teenagers and it's a teenager mystery thriller thing. It makes
Right.
total sense, but it's fun to see a school after hours where the each room is a little bit dark.
Yes.
They don't put the lights on. They still use like flashlights and
I
stuff,
know.
even though they could
Well,
just
I guess
flick
they
a
don't
light
want to
switch.
alert anybody that anybody's in the school. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that.
Yeah.
And so it's two people. Is Spencer one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Spencer leaves the room to go look into the hallway for some reason. And
She hears a noise. So she's like, is somebody else in here with us?
okay. And while she walks away, Caleb
Yep.
has wandered into the kiln. Now, I don't know about your school experience. A kiln, I think, was like a standalone device that I
Yeah.
remember in school. In this show, it's a whole room. It's like
Yeah.
an enormous, it's like a walk-in freezer at a restaurant.
Right.
But so he wanders inside,
Mm-hmm.
which seems stupid and risky. It's like
It certainly does.
it's like what they used to say in like the 40s about like don't let your kids play in the refrigerator.
Well, there's
'cause
a
the
reason.
door might
He's
shut.
going into the kiln to put a knife in there to be destroyed, which I also don't understand.
Wait, they wanted to destroy the knife in the kiln?
Yes.
Is that what would happen? Doesn't a kiln
I don't know. I thought the
doesn't
same
it
thing.
desiccate and dry out
Yes.
clay?
Yes.
Why
I
would
thought
it
the same
melt
thing.
up metal?
I have absolutely no idea, William. They go to the they break into the school after hours to destroy a knife by putting it in a kiln.
Well, I like
which-
that even more now. Because
which like bakes clay.
yes,
So
right.
that you can use it as like a shitty coffee mug.
yeah. So you
or
can make
whatever.
a shit ass coffee mug for your parents.
Right. Why would that destroy a knife?
I don't think it would, but I'm starting to really like the idea of a teen thriller where the kids don't understand how the world works.
Yeah.
And they try to destroy evidence in ways that evidence would not be destroyed.
I know.
I like that.
So I didn't rewatch
I'm
the
into
whole
that.
episode or anything. I did go to the Pretty Little Liars wiki to get more context for these things. I don't remember everything.
Sure.
I'm wondering if there's a line in the episode that makes this make sense in some way.
True. Fair enough.
Because
Fair enough. It does not.
It's not usually like they'll have silly plot lines. It's not usually like that's stupid.
Right. Mhm.
So I don't know. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah.
And also Spencer
want-
and Mona are kind of on the same level of smarts. Spencer doesn't have the hacker skills that Mona has.
Okay, but she's
Spencer
intelligent.
and Mona are like academic rivals, kind of.
Okay.
So I don't know why Spencer will be going to the kiln to destroy a knife.
Yeah, it seems dopey.
I know.
I
wonder
do
if there's
now-
something I'm missing.
I do now want a teen thriller story like this, though, where like somebody's like, we've got to get rid of the fingerprints
Yeah.
on this gun. I'll rub a magnet on it.
Right.
Like I want them to like do something that doesn't actually correlate, and then they're like, "Whew, thank God we did that.
We're in the clear.
We're in the clear now."
Yeah.
Anyway, so Caleb wanders into the kiln by himself,
Yeah.
and so the door obviously shuts.
I don't know why
behind
he
him.
doesn't just put the knife in and get out of the kiln. He like puts the knife in the kiln and is like wandering around like
Stands in there.
looking around the kiln.
So of
Yeah.
course, presumably
Yeah.
slams the door shut, locking him into the kiln.
Right.
I don't know how hot a kiln gets or anything.
I don't know.
But thank God Spencer's able to get him out of there. And he, you know, he like flops out. He's covered in sweat.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was close.
Yes.
Was it A? Did A lock you in there? He's like, I don't know. I think so. I don't know. You're not really able to help very much at all now.
No. Now, this will not be the last time these two are in a hot situation because Caleb is Hannah's boyfriend at this point, her longtime boyfriend. Then Pretty Little Liars later on does a 5 years forward time jump for
Right.
the last 2 seasons.
Okay.
Where Caleb and Hannah have broken up. Caleb and Spencer are together.
Oh, no.
It's shocking. It shook the fandom.
Really?
I loved it. But then Caleb and Spencer break up. All the originals get back together by the end.
Oh.
Boring.
Boring. It's like reset the timeline almost. Like
Yeah. Plus, Spencer gets back together with that total flop Toby. Spencer and Caleb were way
total
better.
flop. What a way to describe someone.
He's a total dud.
A dud. Just as a person. What a dud.
He's a dud. So also, just so you know, the reason that they were destroying this knife, to give you a little bit of like the mystery of what's going on.
Okay.
So we had mentioned I had mentioned in the previous episode where we covered Pretty Little Liars that Mona, the girl who I've talked about today, who, you know, was A at one point, she kind of bounces back and forth between being A and being like, I'm so sorry, let me help you guys or whatever.
She's the Vegeta of Pretty Little Liars.
What?
You understand.
What is that?
On Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta is Goku's rival, but often his friend.
Yeah, it sounds like she is the Vegeta.
He allows himself to become possessed by Majin Buu in order to increase his strength.
She does sound like the Vegeta.
She's the Vegeta of Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, it totally sounds like that. So, yeah, so at one point, like in this season where this is happening, she faked her own disappearance / death. So that's the point at which this is all going on. And in this episode, Toby, Spencer's, boyfriend, he's become a cop by now. Okay, but fine.
Oh, is this that fella with the dopey face?
Yes,
Who in one
so
of the clips was like, let me do this by myself.
Yes.
Don't do this.
This is why I'm calling him a flop and a dud.
He was a total dud, this guy.
You see?
It was a man dressed like a cop. If the joke in Scream is that David Arquette is ineffective as a police officer,
yes.
I mean, he looks like Kojak next to this guy.
Do you see?
Oh, I totally see. This guy who's like, it's something I have to do alone.
Yeah.
I won't let you get hurt again, Spencer, or whatever. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I was like, this looks like a 14-year-old boy.
I know.
Dressed like a police officer.
Yes.
Are these the only adult in their lives? Like,
no.
All the adults on the show are also children, you know?
No, there are adults, but they're completely locked out of everything. The liars don't tell them anything.
Right. Why would you want any help?
Yeah, I know.
All this drama makes you special.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
I know. There's also one point where Toby goes to juvie and he wears a do-rag.
Shut up. Toby goes to juvie and he wears a do-rag is such a weird sentence. Toby goes to juvie.
So funny.
What did he do to get into juvie? Did he steal like a Crunch Bar?
I'm trying to think. Like, maybe they thought...
Toby goes to juvie and he wears a do-rag.
Maybe it was like in the early seasons. It could have even been the first season. Maybe they thought he had something to do with Allison's death or something. I really don't remember. He's such a loser.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I mean, look at him.
I know.
He didn't do anything to anyone.
He gets a tattoo of the day that Allison goes missing. She was like a major bully and she was like really mean to Toby. He gets a tattoo of the date that says free at last.
Oh, wow.
The day his bully went missing. Toby sucks.
The day his bully went missing.
Oh god, the show kicks so much ass. So at this point, now this man's a cop.
You're going to be able to show this to Zoe someday. Do you realize that? That like
my God.
every time she comes over, you can be like, well, watch another episode.
Oh, I would love that.
Just do me a favor and wait until she's like 40.
Oh, I would love that. That'd be so funny. Okay, so now when the reason they had this knife or whatever is because Toby is a cop and they were like searching in the woods for, clues about Mona or whatever, him and all his cops. And they found this knife and Toby recognizes that it's a knife from his family's cabin where Caleb is staying. And at this point, Allison is kind of like a bad guy and they're like, oh man, I bet Allison planted this here to like frame us all. And so they're like, let's get rid of the knife. That's why they're even doing this whole thing. Just to give you some of like the cuckoo-ness of why this is all going on. Okay. So last segment of Hot and Cold.
Yes. The cold of Hot and Cold.
Yes. Spencer and Arya get locked in an ice cream freezer in an abandoned ice cream factory.
Exactly what you would think. What you would think. It's the same as the kiln.
Yeah.
Now I looked, these both happened in the same season.
Yes, this was 2 episodes later.
This is so stupid. Like 2 episodes ago, you got stuck in a kiln. A big hot room. And now
I
2
know.
episodes beyond that, you get stuck in another big room, but it's a cold big room.
Now it's cold in there.
So stupid.
I know.
So the 2 characters, whatever, they go into the cold room, and then A traps him in and puts on. Well, first of all, she has to like crank like a big thing, like a big wheel to cool down the big ice cream room.
Right.
And all this steam starts flooding into the room, and one of the characters goes, "Ooh, it's cold." And the other one goes, "It's liquid nitrogen. We got to get out of here.
I told you that Spencer is smart.
We could freeze to death."
Yeah.
And then it's exactly what you think. More liquid nitrogen pumps into the room, and they're pounding on the window, and another character comes up to try to release them, but can't spin the big wheel. And this confused me. They have a huge wrench.
Yeah.
And so they just start wailing on the control panel with the wrench, which does turn off the steam. Or something. It does turn off, it's not steam, not hot steam. It turns off the liquid nitrogen pumping into the room.
Right.
But this is like a classic cliche of movies and stuff. Smash the control panel. Mm-hmm. I feel like, and maybe Mythbusters has done this, I don't know. But I feel like if you smash the control panel, all you've done is ensure that this process will continue, and now there is no means to turn it off.
That would be true, but it's not what happens.
Of course it's not. It's a TV show.
Well, no, it's not that. She doesn't smash a control panel.
Sure she does.
No, she smashes the big wheel.
Well, she does that too. She hits multiple things with that big wrench.
Okay.
She hits
Well, she hits the door. She's trying to get them out.
She does that as well.
Yeah,
So she
yeah,
hits 3 things with the big wrench. But I
didn't remember
swear,
a
one of them is a
control
little panel with lights and buttons.
Okay.
And she just wails on that first. And then she hits the wheel, and the steam thing comes off. And then the girls are able to flop out of the room.
Yeah.
It's always open the door and they flop out.
Totally.
like
yeah,
the
because
same-
they've been made limp
Yeah.
from the... Now, I will say, it's all the same because we're doing it this way. I will say these 2 things happen 2 episodes apart.
That's my point. I'm fine with these 2 things happening.
Yeah, but...
In the same season is too much, let alone 2 episodes apart is too much.
Absolutely.
It feels like they have the same, they just like cut the same part of the same script, and they were like, oh shit.
Yeah.
The same moment is in the next episode.
Yeah.
Make it a cold thing then.
I know. It's so weird.
Why are they in an abandoned ice cream factory now?
I'd be happy to tell you that.
Please.
Okay, so like we said, this is only 2 episodes later. So this whole thing is still in play. That Mona is missing, presumed dead, and they're all worried about being framed for her death. So they have since been able to track Mona's laptop, which has led them to a storage unit that contains a bunch of Mona's belongings and an ominous-looking barrel, like one of those big steel barrels with like some liquid in it. And they're like, oh, God.
Like what they put the dip in Roger Rabbit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, God, is Mona's body in here? Like all like gooed liquefied or
Ooh,
something?
like the Tar Man.
Yeah. What? Who's the Tar Man?
You know about the Tar Man from Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Greatest zombies of all time.
Yes, that's right. Like the Tar Man. So they're like freaked out about it. And then they find out that Hannah's name has been put on the storage unit. So framing her, like Hannah rented this storage unit and then put all this like Mona stuff, including her body, into the storage unit.
Wait a minute. Well, you keep saying body.
They don't know it's a body, but they're thinking that this barrel, like maybe this is Mona's body in here because they don't know what's in it and they're like afraid to open it.
That implies that the stakes of this show really are. Do people get murdered on this show?
Yeah.
People have been murdered on the show.
Oh, God, yeah. Like a lot of them.
Okay. I never thought the stakes actually got that high. I thought it was always, especially from the stuff that I've seen, it always seemed like it was like, yeah, I'll trap you in a kiln.
No.
But then someone always sets you free.
No, the main 4 characters never get murdered, but people get murdered around them. Plenty.
Really? So it was plausible at this point that Mona's body could have been in that barrel.
Definitely. Yeah.
That's surprising to me. Okay. All right.
Yeah, people get murdered willy-nilly on the show.
So please don't say willy-nilly.
Yeah, no, too close. So yeah, they're like, oh God, this could be major trouble. So they're freaked out, and Hannah and Caleb, her boyfriend, want to move the contents of that storage unit, all that stuff, before the police can get to it and realize that Hannah's name is on it and they can get in major trouble. So all the other friends think this is a bad move. This is ill-advised because they think that Allison probably killed Mona and is framing them for this. And tampering with the evidence is not only going to make Hannah look guilty of doing it, but it's going to hurt a case against Allison. So it's going to screw everything up, and like they should just, I don't know, they'll figure something else out, but like don't do this.
Feels like the police should be more involved than the kids.
Definitely. There is one Detective Tanner, who is pretty on it. She's a good character. She's always like kind of threatening with them on the edges, and you're like, oh god, Detective Tanner's like kind of getting to it, but
she clearly never really gets close.
No.
If the police,
she'll get close, but then they like find a way.
If the police on Pretty Little Liars were a little more on the ball or professional or intelligent,
the police are extremely corrupt. Like for example, somebody who was murdered, Detective Wilden, who is Bryce Johnson of Bigfoot Collectors Club.
Yes.
Very corrupt, murdered. There was another detective.
Wait, the corrupt guy gets murdered?
Yeah.
They need to be murdering the not corrupt ones.
They do also murder not corrupt ones.
If the police were a little less inept, how quickly do you think that these mysteries would be solved?
I don't know. A is pretty shifty.
Okay.
It's hard to say. I mean, certainly if they were less inept, they'd get closer.
So A is killing cops?
Yeah.
This is like a situation then for like the FBI or something.
Yes, it's very intense.
Dale Cooper needs to come to this town.
Yes. I mean, the show is definitely inspired by Twin Peaks. So yes, I would love it if Dale Cooper showed up.
Is there any level of if the police are in danger or whatever, I assume they call in super police, right? Is that, I know the FBI does like federal stuff, but like if local police are overwhelmed, do they bring in FBI? And then if the FBI get overwhelmed, do they bring in like, who do they bring in? Is there any, I guess, here's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Is there any point where eventually Joe Biden is brought in as the ultimate, because he's the commander in chief.
He's like all the way up.
He's the ultimate cop. Just like, do they ever bring in the president because everyone beneath him has been overwhelmed?
Failed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who's the highest?
I don't know. Would it be the head of the FBI?
I'm calling in the president of the United States of America to stop A.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I would love to see it. I hope so.
Yeah.
I think that they call in Tanner. Like, I think that she wasn't just part of the Rosewood police force. I think that they called her in because things were getting too hairy or something. I think she was from somewhere else.
Okay.
And she's the one who's kind of like really like putting the pressure on them where they're like, oh God, this lady's kind of like good at her job.
We actually have somebody who's
formidable.
Capable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
because on Air Force One, eventually Harrison Ford had to do it himself.
That's true.
So the president does sometimes roll up their sleeves and punch people.
I gotta tell you, I don't know if between Biden and A, I think A could take Biden.
I think just about anyone could take Biden, if I'm being honest, in a physical fight.
I do too.
There's very few people who would be defeated at this point.
Brittle.
Yes.
So yeah, no, the police are there, but they've been no match so far. I guess at the very end, they do best A finally. But yeah, so the reason they even go to this ice cream factory is because this abandoned ice cream factory. God. I wonder if there's just like a wheel of ridiculous settings that they spin every once in a while, like the Wheel of Fortune wheel. And they'll be like, okay, abandoned ice cream factory in the writer's room.
Well, it's also just like, is it a production thing? Like, we've got another factory. Mm-hmm. What can we say to make it more interesting? They make yummy ice cream.
True. Like, yeah.
This is a show for children. How about they make the yummiest ice cream in town?
It's honestly not that much for children. Like, even when we were saying, like, it's a YA Scream, like, Scream is YA. Like, they can't say the F word on this, and they can't really show that much blood, but I would call them not in quality, but as far as, like, audience, quite comparable.
Scream by today's standards might be YA, or at least the way that people think about Scream. Again, go back and watch Scream 1 and 2 in particular.
Yes.
They are far gnarlier emotionally. Like, the emotional stakes and the actual seriousness is bigger than people think it is.
No, it certainly is, but, like, the audience is, like, the same.
That's... okay.
It is true.
I'm the Scream audience, and I did not watch this. So your theory is already busted.
No, but like who it came out for, the audience is the same.
No, Scream is R-rated.
Now. I know, but it's pretty damn close. There's like a very fine line between PG-13 and R. I know they say it's 13 and 17, but it's like, come on.
Listen, I agree with you. I'm just saying these are not the same.
I'm not
saying
they may be
close.
All right, whatever. I'm not saying they're the same, but I'm saying you being like, this is YA Scream. They're like, Scream is also pretty YA.
Well, I guess
I love it, but I'm just saying.
Okay. We'll table this because I can tell it's making you uncomfortable.
Because I don't care that much.
You care deeply. I know, and I know that.
Okay. So anyway, the reason they're there is because they tracked the laptop to the ice cream factory, thinking that Hannah and Caleb are putting all the evidence in the ice cream factory. And
I was hoping you were
going
saying in the ice cream. If we put all the evidence in the ice cream,
they'll
then
never find it.
people will eat it. It's like the same as Hannibal. Right when they try to feed the pigs.
Yeah, that's right.
It's put it on the ice cream, people will eat the evidence and we'll be home free.
That's right. Yeah, nobody will ever find it.
No one will ever
Or like
know.
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, like Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, they're like, okay, that's where they're hiding everything. We should go there and be like, guys, stop this. And so they go inside and they hear Hannah and Caleb's voices. So they're like, okay, that is where they are. And they're looking around the factory for their voices.
Oh, right.
And then they find the laptop is just playing footage that A has recorded of Hannah and Caleb plotting to destroy the evidence. So A has lured them there to mess with them and lock them in a freezer or whatever.
Yes. The laptop playing the voices I thought was pretty smart. It was like a hunter using a duck call or something, right? Like I'll lure you in with the voices of people you would trust.
Right, right. Yep. Yes. All right. So we will get to the body horror and family stuff.
Yes. The body horror was very strange. Very strange.
Weird.
And to minimal effect, but very strange.
Yes, totally weird. Right after we make sure you know about patreon.com/GTTUpod. This is where you can go to get lots of extra stuff that we make, including our second podcast, The Netherworld Dispatch, that comes out every single Monday and is available to everybody who joins our Demon tier.
It is such a fun show to do. We go a little gonzo with it. We watch clips.
Yep.
The most recent episode of The Netherworld Dispatch, we titled Trailers Spoil Everything.
Yeah.
We're talking about that idea that people say where it's like modern trailers give everything about the movie away.
Yeah.
And so we took a look at a bunch of trailers throughout time. We watched the trailer for the original Halloween, for the original Friday the 13th, the remake of Psycho. We watched so many trailers.
Maybe remake of Psycho is a weird one.
It's so, God. I mean, the movie's strange.
Yes, but the
trailer never had a
really
shot.
No.
At being normal.
Yeah.
But so it was fun not only to look at that stuff, but then to also be like, how far do trailers go in giving stuff away?
Yeah.
So if you want to see us dig into that, go check it out. Patreon.com/GTTUpod. Find a tier size that fits. It's super, super fun. I've also got a new review for us that came from April. This review is titled, Great Company, Great Time. Oh, wait a minute.
Whoop.
I am a fool.
William?
In fact, I am Fortune's fool. Wait a minute.
I should have known.
Yeah, you should have known. Oh, because you know why?
Because you didn't take notes.
No, well, I didn't take notes, but I prepped a review to read, but then I had to show you that guy from The Hangover.
Oh.
So shout out to April. We already read your review.
Yes,
this
thank you.
Is a review for us from Esta Siegel, titled One of My All-Time Favorites. This podcast never fails to put me in a good mood. I love spooky and weird history and scary movies, and this podcast covers all of that. But it is also genuinely hilarious. More than once, I've ended up waiting for the bus with tears in my eyes from laughing, probably scaring everyone else around me. Someone's crying and getting on the bus.
They're passing on the scares.
This is my go-to show for whenever I'm in a bad mood. It never fails. Keep up the good work. 5 stars.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy to bring tears to your eyes.
I know. I hope you're all crying out there. I do also want to say that in the live chat, as we record this show live on youtube.com/GTTUpod, Matthew, who has great experience in the world of physical crafts, brought up that a kiln can often get up to 2,000 degrees, which should actually be enough to destroy a knife.
Oh, awesome. Great. Thank you, Matthew.
It would turn the knife into a puddle of goo. So that seemed perfectly relevant.
Oh, excellent. So
Yes.
they could destroy that knife in the kiln.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. It's almost time for body horror, but you know it, you love it. A commercial break now.
Okay. A note in a tooth.
A note in a tooth.
There was a note in a tooth.
This was my favorite one. This was my favorite.
The first thing that I thought of when I thought of doing this episode.
Who is the character?
Hannah.
Okay. All right. Again, spackling what I failed to mention.
Yeah.
Hannah goes to the dentist. It appears to be a ruse. She's at the dentist for some other purpose, some investigatory purpose.
Right.
I really loved all of this. All right.
Yeah.
So a dental hygienist or like dentist assistant, I don't know the workplace of dentistry,
Sure.
sets Hannah up in the chair. You know the chair.
You know the one.
And then goes like, I'll be right back, and leaves the room, leaving.
You don't want to say that.
Oh, you don't want to say that? I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'll see you in the kitchen with a knife.
Right.
Whatever that meant. I'll see you in the kitchen with a knife is the line that Randy
I wonder if
says.
that's like a little improv.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that?
Do another take.
Yeah.
I'll see you in the kitchen. There's no good variation. I'll see you in the kitchen stabbed by a knife.
Right. Okay.
I'll see you in the kitchen with a knife. Whatever. So Hannah's left by herself in the dentist's office. And she takes the opportunity, with no one near her, to go hustle and go look through the files and find some evidence on a piece of paper.
Right.
And then what she doesn't realize is that while she's out of the chair, the dental assistant person comes back and just sees the chair empty and goes, Hannah? And doesn't even try to find her.
No.
Just instantly picks up a phone that's on the wall already and goes, Dentist? Patient must not have felt like waiting. She went home. You should go home too. I am also going to go home. Everyone will leave the office now because we assume that this girl is no longer in the building. Okay, bye. And hangs up the phone and I guess leaves the room and the whole building.
Yes.
So Hannah doesn't know.
And very quickly.
So abrupt.
Yeah.
That made me laugh almost more than the tooth thing. I loved just the abruptness of this performer being like, hello, dentist, I'm leaving, so should you, bye.
Right. And then like turns out all the lights.
Turns out all the lights. Hannah finds the evidence meanwhile, and not realizing that everyone's closed the office for the day, heads back to the dentist chair and sits back. And then without seeing who it was, it's like a giallo film. Yeah. Just a person enters the room wearing the white dentist's coat and immediately grabs Hannah from behind and puts a gas mask on her.
Yeah.
Hannah's knocked out.
That's scary.
That was A.
I feel like that's one of the most scary personal things A has done. A's not usually like on them, like knocking them out.
Yeah. It
Like
was
alone in an abandoned building with A, like making you unconscious.
It's also weird that like,
Ew.
how lucky did A get that Hannah,
Very.
because for this to work,
I know.
Hannah would have to leave the chair. The staff would have to go. Our only patient for the day is gone.
Yep.
Let's go away now.
It's a complete comedy of errors.
Yes. And then they're like, oh, now I can do the thing that I'm very prepared to do.
Yeah.
So Hannah's knocked out after a minimal struggle.
Yes.
She's knocked out.
Yeah.
And then they do that awesome thing where like A brings out a syringe and squishes the plunger on the syringe so a little goo shoots out. Like,
Yep.
oh God.
Here we go.
Starts to put it toward Hannah's face and it cuts to commercial.
Right.
Like before, like it's like the thing moves like a millimeter toward her face. Like they don't want to get it so scary that a sharp thing is really next to her lip.
Yes.
And Hannah wakes up after the commercial break with a little bit of blood outside her lip. And then my next favorite part happens. She goes to their clubhouse. I don't know where it is that these girls work together. It's like a barn.
What? They just go to Arya's house.
Really? It looked like a barn.
No.
Maybe I was just
her
imagining
home.
a barn.
I think you're thinking of the fact that they, in the first episode, have a sleepover in kind of a barn. It's like a renovated barn.
I promise you I wasn't thinking of the first episode.
I think you subconsciously were because they just go to a normal house.
Really?
Yeah.
You think my subconscious retained this stuff?
I don't know why else you would think they went to a barn when they went to a fully normal house.
It looked like a barn. I thought it was a barn. I thought I saw a horse eating hay. Anyway, she shows up with her friends for their detective agency.
Yeah.
And says the funniest things. Like the dialogue is all weird. They're like, where have you been all afternoon? She goes, the dentist. They go, the dentist? I thought your appointment was at 2:30.
Yeah.
Which would make sense.
Oh, 2:30.
2:30.
Yeah.
That's when everyone goes to the dentist.
Right.
I always wanted to write a detective story where they're like, now we know who did it. We just have to find them. Wait a minute. What time is it? Mm-hmm. And it's 2:30.
So then they know where they are.
They know where the suspect is.
Yeah.
The dentist. But so she goes, I feel like I've been chewing on, what'd she say? I feel like I've been chewing on a pincushion all day.
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
She goes, will you look inside my mouth?
I know.
To her friends.
I know.
This is so weird that like you go to the dentist and your mouth hurts.
Yeah.
Relatively normal.
Right.
Right. I guess she knows that it wasn't a dentist.
She knows it was A. So I guess I would say that too. I'd be like, A knocked me out.
Yeah,
Now I
okay.
have blood on me and my mouth hurts.
Fair enough. But so they do. They all crowd around with a little flashlight and look inside her mouth. And then one of them goes, wait, give me some tweezers.
Yeah.
And it's like the Silence of the Lambs. Like I think they're going to pull
know.
a death's head moth out of her throat or something.
Yep.
But they reach in and they pull out a little vial, a little tube that I guess was hidden inside a tooth.
It's just a folded note.
No, it was inside. If you look again, it's hidden inside like a caplet.
Okay.
It's a note that's a teeny tiny yellow note rolled up very tight and hidden inside like, I don't know how big it is. It's like the size of a Tic Tac, like a gel cap thing.
Uh-huh.
So they pull that out and they unroll it. It was a note hidden inside Hannah's tooth.
Yep.
So did A like hollow out a tooth?
I know. I don't know.
Or just knock her out and jam a Tic Tac between her teeth?
I know. I don't know. They don't. She just goes, that was in my mouth. So I don't know exactly how.
There's really no knowing. They said
Yeah.
other funny things too here. Like it was just that like TV writing cliche
Yeah.
where it's like, well, but if you were at the dentist, who could be doing this?
Yeah, right.
Guys,
Oh,
who
Arya,
is A?
it's a line that's become a joke because Arya goes, "Who is this monster?"
Who is this monster?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
And also, this is in the season where Spencer has found out that Toby is part of the A team.
Okay.
Before she knows he's double, like he's a double agent. So she's like, first of all, she looks incredibly sick. She's like gray when they're all at Arya's house.
Yes, I noticed that.
Yeah, because she's just found out that her boyfriend is their tormentor, and then she's like, "Oh my god, did Toby do this?"
Yeah.
So when Arya's like, "Who is this monster?" Spencer's like, "Gulp." And then
okay.
the notes.
Yeah, I don't remember what it says.
The note says, "I told you, dead girls can't smile. Stop looking." A.
I told you, dead girls can't smile.
I guess that happened at another point. I don't remember.
But what does it mean aside from like, I've got to do a tooth thing? Because I told you you can't smile, so I got to do something to your mouth.
Yeah.
She should have had
Sometimes
the
it's in
little
theme.
note over her upper lip like a little John Waters mustache.
Just written it, and
Yeah.
so A didn't have to knock her out with
Yeah.
the laughing gas and everything. Yeah,
Correct.
much easier.
Yeah, I told you
but less
already.
intimidating.
That's what Zoe says to
Yeah.
me now. She goes, I told you already. I want macaroni for dinner.
I know.
Like, you didn't tell me. I know I should assume.
I know.
I told you already. Molly can't talk. She's a dog.
I know.
Thank you, Zoe.
It's so funny.
So, yeah, A hides a note in someone's tooth.
It's so crazy.
That's got to be one of the wackier things, just in general.
Oh, like I said, it was the first thing I thought of when I was
Yeah.
like, maybe we should just like do a bunch of things that are crazy A did. And I was like, oh, when they put a note in Hannah's tooth. I think it's referencing both Silence of the Lambs and Twin Peaks when there's the letter.
A letter under the fingernail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It also was supposed to, I guess, again, imply like, I can get to you anywhere.
Yeah.
And she took whatever evidence Hannah had found out of the purse.
Yeah.
Whatever evidence Hannah had gotten at the dentist's office, A removed that while Hannah was knocked out.
Yeah, she was there to. So by this point, I guess they know that the body. So, like, Allie was missing. Their friend Allison was missing. And then her body was found. But then they all found out that actually that's not Allison's body. And that everybody had been fooled because somebody had switched the dental records. And so somebody had made it so that everybody thought the dental records of that body that was found were Allie's dental records, but that was not true. So then Hannah was going to the dentist to like find out who switched the dental records or something. And that was what she had in her purse or whatever.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Okay, so the second / last body horror thing I have here is from season 6. A, microchipped them.
Oh, I forgot about this. They keep saying microchip so much.
Yeah.
I liked this, and it's so weird for a character that already appears to be, like you said, like she can see everything they do anyway.
Yeah.
What's the point of microchipping you? You're not getting away from me anyway.
Well, but I mean, then they just have a GPS tracker.
I guess
so
it
much
makes
more
it
convenient.
It's more convenient. That's true. But
Yeah.
it's not like they had a hard time tracking them down. But
Right.
you're right. It does make it more convenient, I suppose.
Yeah.
But they're like investigating a place, and they realize when they go too close to these metal detectors, they set them off.
Yeah.
I guess they have no other metal on their bodies at all, except for the microchip at the back of their necks.
So it's not a metal detector. They are at a college investigating this red herring named Leslie Stone, who's a pain in the ass. We just lift her right out of the series and we're totally fine.
Okay.
But Leslie Stone either works at or is just going to this college, and they're going to the, office or whatever that she works at. And it's like, and, they're like doing research on animals or something. And so there's some sort of like, tracker detector thing for the animals.
Like when you put in a pet, like a pet finder.
That are microchipped. And when they go by that is supposed to detect the animal's microchips.
Understood. Okay.
They are buzzing.
It specifically picks up microchips. It's not a metal detector.
Right.
Gotcha. All right. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
But so they like, it takes them a long time to all get on the same page. Like one person keeps setting off the thing and then someone goes, wait a minute, and grabs their head and swipes their head past the scanner.
Right.
Which is amusing.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, what? What do you think is happening?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why you're all not leaping to the same thing. The YouTube video is called A Microchips. The girls, I saw the title. I don't know why they didn't.
I don't know.
But so, yeah, they got microchipped. And then they...
And Arya has another good line. Like the, who is this monster? She says, bitch chipped us.
Bitch chipped us. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Bitch chipped us. It didn't roll off the tongue.
No.
At all.
No.
Somebody wrote that knowing that it would be a big line,
Like a silly line. By
silly
this
line,
point,
yes.
everybody's like, this is so silly. Yes.
Exactly. But the performance really was like somebody who's like a thespian trying to sound cool. Like it didn't, bitch chipped us. Like it didn't sound good.
Yeah.
Anyway, they then have to resort to self-surgery.
Yes.
To remove their microchips, which is implied more than shown.
Yeah.
But is pretty gnarly.
Right. Like, so it's the three of them who were, it's Arya, Hannah, and Spencer who'd gone to the college. Emily isn't with them. Emily's not really involved in any of these things that I pulled. I don't think she has too many of these like really cuckoo moments.
Yeah.
There is one really big cuckoo thing that happened with Emily that's like a whole other to do, but so they're explaining this to Emily and they have a whole plot where they're like, we're going to take it, let's take out these microchips and then A can't track us or whatever. And it's a little bit more involved. And Emily's like, okay, but how do we get the microchips out? And like Hannah brings out like a metal tray
the classic,
with gauze and like, a scalpel and all this stuff. And she's like, well, Spencer and I have been watching some videos online. And they're like, oh,
that is crazy.
Yeah.
That prop, that metal tray with gauze and like an X-Acto knife and a little vial of alcohol, presumably. That prop is like, I feel like I've seen that in so many things when it's usually doctors and not teenagers. They were so prepared.
Right. They knew what they were
We've been watching some videos.
They knew what they were going to have to do. So how A even shipped them is that it happened in the dollhouse. So we referred to it in our previous episode, but what happened is, again, a lot of these crazy things seem to happen in seasons like 5 and 6. It's kind of in the aftermath of Mona being missing and presumed dead. We ended up finding out that Mona was not dead, but all of the friends were arrested for her murder, placed in like a prison vehicle to go to the jail, but that was hijacked by A, who kidnapped them and put them all into something known as the dollhouse, which was a weirdo underground bunker with rooms that replicated their real life rooms at home. And they found that Mona was in that underground bunker the entire time. She was not dead at all. So that's why now when they get out of the dollhouse, they are free to roam and they're not in jail because Mona was never dead. So then the police are like, oh, you're free to go. While they were in that dollhouse, at one point, A drugs them all. And they wake up on metal morgue tables, not knowing what happened. And then they realize that A drugged them and placed those microchips in the back of their necks.
Oh.
Yes. So.
Why isn't A like killing them?
They like to play with their food.
That's it.
Yes.
I will never kill you. I will do this forever.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep. At one point, A, A like has been in a mental hospital for a long time, and A gets released. And A had fooled everybody into thinking that they were healed. But you see A, when they're released, just being like, huh, if everybody thought it was bad before, just wait till I mess with them now. Like, I'm just going to do this forever.
It's like the Joker.
Yeah. Wait till they get a load of me.
Moop. Moop. Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to do it forever. So, yeah, so that's why they had those microchips. And yeah, they self-surgeried them out of the backs of their necks. Off camera.
Off camera, right. And then they refer to it so casually where they're like, there's a little blood. You're bleeding a little bit.
Yeah.
Go, where?
I know.
And she kind of like nudges like the back of the neck. She's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like it's like they've got a paper cut. That's how they're behaving.
Yeah.
They're not behaving as if they just did surgery. None of them are horrified.
Traumatic.
None of them are horrified or anything.
Well,
Like they get over everything so quickly.
At this point, they've been dealing with this for 6 years. I will say after they have the 5 years.
Are they on
forward-
track to graduate? Are they like keeping up with schoolwork and stuff?
Yeah, they are. I
Do
mean,
they ever go see like their families like at the holidays and stuff? Like,
Yes.
Are their lives normal at all?
Kind of, yeah. They do have things like that.
Does this end with them being happy, or does this end?
Yeah.
It does. This has a happy ending.
Yep. Yeah, it all wraps up. Yeah, they do
okay.
the 5 years forward.
That's right.
They're still tormented 5 years forward, of course, but then it does wrap up with a happy ending.
Okay.
Like I said, all the original couples have gotten back together. There's marriages. There's babies. A whole to-do.
Okay. Very well.
Of course, one of those babies is conceived through very traumatic means. I wasn't going to bring this up.
Wait.
I guess I may as
say
well.
what you just said again.
Some of those babies are conceived through extremely traumatic means. I wasn't going to bring this up, but I suppose I will. I was saying that Emily isn't really in the mix with all this stuff, but the one big thing that she's in the mix with is that in the 5 years forward, Emily has like no money. And so she decides to sell her eggs for money, and A steals her eggs.
Show.
And then while Allison is under, for some reason, I don't remember, she's like, under anesthesia, implants Emily's eggs into Allison.
Wait.
So Allison basically becomes an unwilling surrogate for Emily's eggs.
But who are these eggs fertilized already?
Yes. I guess they're fertilized by Allie's then husband, who is a villain.
Wait a minute. Okay.
They create an embryo.
They they create life.
Yeah.
Creates life.
Yes.
So wait.
In Allison's body.
All right. Who are the biological parents? Well, wait a minute. I don't even know how to refer to this. So who are the donors? The unwilling donors. All right,
Emily.
Emily,
who was just selling her eggs for
Emily
money.
sold eggs.
Then the other donor is Allison's evil husband, Elliot Rollins.
Okay. Okay.
I can't remember why A does this. I don't remember why, but they do. Then luckily, Emily and Allison are in love. So they're a couple and they raise the babies together. So that ends up being a happy ending, but through horrible means. I couldn't believe they did this.
Okay. I'm at a point where there's nothing I can say but okay. There's no...
I know.
Very well.
No, very well.
Well, may it proceed.
Which is a great transition to our last thing to talk about, which is secret siblings / twins. Mm-hmm. This is where we end. Okay, first, Spencer finds out that Allie's brother, Jason, was actually biologically fathered by Spencer's father, Peter Hastings. Not the father that Allie and Jason grew up with.
Okay.
As originally presumed.
Okay.
The adults all knew this, and it contributed to the icy air amongst them. So Jason is Spencer's half-brother.
Okay.
We just didn't know that. It was just a surprise at one point. Then we find out that Cece, Allie's cool older friend, is actually her sister. Cece was born Charles.
Oh, I remember something like this. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But went by Charlotte because she was trans and used Cece as an alias. But Charles was put into Radley Sanitarium, the local mental hospital in town, which is a huge part of everything throughout the show, before Allie or her brother Jason were old enough to remember her. So they didn't even know that they had a sibling.
Okay.
And she came back into Allie's life as Cece.
Right.
Because their mother, Jessica, told their father that Charles had committed suicide in Radley. Told her, don't worry, you don't even have this kid anymore. Because their father was such an asshole to Charlotte that she was like, Charlotte's dead.
Has there been a spinoff yet where they've looked at the parents' generation? Because it seems like this drama of the teens has been going on. Like they're just the
I
next
know.
generation encountering this kind of stuff. It seems like all this drama and interrelationship, whatever, secrets and lies has been going on for generations.
There was a lot of talk about that perhaps happening at some point, just among the fandom. It was like, maybe there's going to be like a prequel. This is all so crazy, but it
Pretty
never
Old
happened.
Liars.
Pretty Old Liars,
Yeah.
But it never happened.
Okay.
But yeah, the parents have a lot to do with this.
Alternate name, and even further back.
Yeah.
Pretty Little Grandpas.
I would love Pretty Little Grandpas.
Okay.
This will be the most confusing part. I'm not even going to dwell on it, but I feel like it's crazy and it's worth mentioning. So we're almost done. So that
I'm starting to feel like I lost a contest. Like, remember, like we compete against
I
each
know.
other for a topic? I'm starting to feel like I've been...
I can tell you're fading. We're almost done.
All right.
So that happened. I'm basically getting toward a surprise sibling, surprise parentage, and surprise twins count. Told him that they were dead. And yes, so Cece, Allie did not know that that was her sister. Jason dated Cece, not knowing that that was his sister.
Ew, wait a minute.
This was a famous they wrote themselves wrong sort of thing. And just like tried to, it was so stupid.
Like a Luke and Leia.
Yes, it's so dumb. Then we find out that, whoops, all that wasn't exactly true. Some of that happened, but Jessica, Allie's mom, actually didn't give birth to Charlotte. It was Jessica's secret twin, Mary Drake. Mary Drake gave birth to Charlotte while she was in Radley's sanitarium herself, being quite unwell. And the baby was given to Jessica and Kenneth to raise on the outside, but that didn't go so hot. But wait, it turns out Mary Drake had more secret babies while in Radley. At one point, she snuck out and posed as her sister Jessica to seduce Peter Hastings and got pregnant. She had twins. One of them, Peter and his wife Veronica took home. This is Spencer. Spencer didn't know she was adopted, but she was. What? And then the other, Alex, was privately adopted by a family in England, but she was a problem child and bounced around the care system there, the foster system. This was Alex Drake, the final bad guy of the show with the insane Cockney accent. So, surprise sibling count, 3. Surprise parentage count, 3. Surprise twins, 2.
That's insane.
I know.
And this didn't last. This show was 7 seasons?
Yeah.
That's really not that long.
I know. I know.
And bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Secret twins.
Secret twins.
I always want a show when it gets so gonzo and it's like, it's evident to everybody at a certain point, right? Like when you bring in all the secret relative stuff, it's evident that something has creatively gone awry.
Yeah.
I always just want a show to just own it and be like, you have a secret twin. You didn't before I said this, but now you do.
Yeah.
You know, like I want the show to just acknowledge it's a show.
Right.
Bobby and I wrote.
It practically did. By the end, it was so nuts. Like, yeah.
Bobby and I wrote a script where one of the opening lines is a principal doing announcements, and he says, "Good morning, class. As you all know, we existed before today." Because they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't exist until you started writing them. I want a show to just be like, now you have someone who looks exactly like you.
Right.
Last season, you did not.
I mean, it was not
This
like
season, you do.
Allie's mom, Jessica, was like this blonde lady who was kind of preppy. Mary Drake had like a dark wig and was like a little like vampiric.
Yeah.
Like it was so ridiculous. Like she practically needed to be invited to enter a home.
Awesome.
Like people joked about that. Like she kind of like was standing outside
Behaves
somebody's
like
house.
a vampire.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So let me ask you as we wrap up.
Yeah.
So the modern incarnations of Pretty Little Liars, are they in a similar mode? Is it also like a thriller-esque
Yeah, I mean,
hidden identity type stories? Like there's somebody that we've got to unmask, so to speak?
yes.
Okay.
The first season, I guess so. Yeah, the first season is kind of like that. The vibe is extremely, extremely different.
Okay. Yeah, from
yeah.
what I've seen, it looked like more of like a television slasher.
Yeah,
I feel like I
it
saw
is.
a monster.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely is like that. But yeah, honestly, I really think that it probably was just another show, and for some reason they slapped Pretty Little Liars onto it.
Yeah, I think that
it
kind of
doesn't
thing.
feel like it, like whatsoever.
Yeah. I've heard it's
but-
still like all right for its own if you take it on its own merit. But and this new season, for what you can tell, is it similarly like I know you didn't
think
you didn't
so.
watch it, but it's like similarly. Oh, and I just remembered I swear, I try not to remember these things. The new season is it's the same show.
Yes.
I think of it as almost like an anthology or something like that.
No,
it feels like it's been years.
Well, it's also confusing because like they started a thing where I guess it makes sense for the first season. It's called Pretty Little Liars Original Sin. Mm-hmm. And then this second season, it's called Pretty Little Liars Summer School. So that makes it sound like it would be an anthology.
It does.
But it's not. It's just a continuation.
It's interesting for a season to have a subtitle. You know what I mean? Like, I actually like the idea of that. Like, it's a sequel story.
Yeah. Like, I feel like it made sense for the first season because it was like
Friends wasn't Friends, and then it came back with Friends Connections.
Right.
Connections Unchained.
Right.
You know?
Right. Like, I guess the first
Whatever.
season you need to show that it's not like the original show. It needs like a different name. But it does seem like it would be an anthology because of the different like American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Like it has a different subtitle.
Exactly.
But no, it's the same thing.
You know, it'd be great.
What?
A new season of Seinfeld, but it comes back as Seinfeld, a show about something.
Ah.
Right?
Yeah.
Subverts. And they just very
Expectation.
dryly get into the issues of today.
Yeah. No, I would love that.
Everyone would. All right, everyone, we're done for 2 more years.
Yep.
Set an alert that
I'm like what's his name? Pennywise from It.
Yes.
I will be back in 2 years to tell you more weird things about Pretty Little Liars because there are more.
Yep. Set an alert for 2026.
Yep.
We'll do this again.
Yes.
It will be happening again. Mm-hmm. See you in 2 years.
2 years.
All right, everybody. Enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
Follow
Not for me, but
no, not for Kristen. Never.
No.
Again, I gotta figure out a topic that. What can I get in the weeds about with you? I got to think about this.
Okay.
Follow at GTTUpod on all social media. We post every time we're going live. We post when there's a new show. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/GTTUpod. Get into the Netherworld Dispatch.
We also have all of our episodes ad-free on Patreon.
That's right. Actually, there is a new feature on Patreon that literally, this is true, because Kristen and I visited Patreon earlier this year. We spoke to one of their engineers, Andy, and I was like, it would be great if we could backdate episodes.
Yeah.
And he made it happen.
I know.
It's going to be a Patreon-wide feature, but it exists because of us.
I know.
And so gradually, you're going to notice at the beginning of the feed, I'm adding ad-free versions of Guide to the Unknown to the Netherworld Dispatch feed. So that's patreon.com/GTTUpod. Super fun to do. Go check it out. Follow at Chill and Kristen.
Yep.
Follow at The Myth Traveler. And we'll be back next week for other scary stories. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the Netherworld. Go we. Wee.
Now, it feels to me, I think there's room for eventually them to do this story again. Like, have the original story of
I would love
Pretty
that.
Little Liars. Like, on a long enough timeline, why wouldn't you?
Right.
They want to keep a franchise going.
Yeah.
And now you've got 7 seasons of a show where sometimes it went off the rails. You could do this exact story again, but like tighten it up or something. Or just start from the original kernel of an idea, more closely adapt the book or something.
I think the books were even more nuts. They seem like they
really?
suck.
How's that possible?
I don't know. I thought about reading them, and then like I read a little bit about them, and I was like, they don't seem fun.
How can they be even wackier?
I don't know. Like I don't even remember honestly, but yeah, I think they're even wackier.
Well, fancy that.
Yeah.